Hey everyone, JB and Chase here with EOTECH, and we are going to run you through the entire gamut of Voodoo optics. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better. All right, so starting out here on my right, your left, right? That one. So yeah, so starting out, we've got the 1:6. So historically, this has been seen on your intermediate caliber carbines, your 5.56s of all your different flavors and barrel lengths. And what have you seen popularly that people have sort of responded to here, you know, with the 1:6, given that sort of standard use case?
Yeah, so most 1:6s, and we have one in our VUDU X that is that way. It's second focal plane. Most of them are second focal plane.
Yeah.
You really don't need first focal in 1:6 in most people's mind. But the reason why we did the 1:6 in first focal is the reticle.
Yeah.
If you look at the reticle at 1 power, it's got the speed ring, just like a holographic sight. It's got the ring and a small aiming dot. And at 1x, you can get onto a target really fast. But with first focal plane, as you dial magnification, that ring expands and gets bigger and bigger, actually comes out of the picture.
Yep.
And now a new crosshair with more information to allow you to shoot medium and long range is available.
Yeah.
So typically it's not a first focal plane optic, but in there, it really gives you the best of both worlds. Real fast target acquisition and then good long range shooting.
Right, and that's, again, what you touched on initially there with the second versus first focal. That's why we did the VUDU X. There are some benefits to second focal plane, I think, that maybe in the last couple of years, people sort of, I don't know, almost seems like they've set aside, but there's a lot going on here in the VUDU X, I think, that's worth talking about.
Yeah, and second focal plane, so you have a really clean, crisp reticle throughout your magnification. So you could still do everything with first focal. First focal is typically range estimation, trying to learn what distance your target is. You can do that with second focal plane. You just typically have to do it at the highest magnification.
Right, which is where you're zeroing anyway on second focal.
Yep.
And, again, guys, these are going to be a little lighter, a little shorter. There's a little bit less glass. So all these things matter when you're making your purchasing, selection. But moving on from that, we go to our 1:8, which I love this thing. I know the 1:10s are most popular, but this thing is, I love it.
Really my favorite LPVO because I don't really do any of that range estimation. I don't need first focal plane. I hunt a lot. I recreational shoot a lot. This gives me a really nice reticle.
Yeah.
Gives me nice turrets that are really good clicks and really accurate. But what's different here than other LPVOs that we have is it's got a fiber optic dot. So it's a daylight bright dot. So if you're shooting out west where everything's just bright skies and all that, you have a dot that you can see at in any lighting condition. So that's a little different than our 1:6 because that's a glass etched reticle that kind of sprays light, at that. So this is a really bright light or bright dot for extremely bright conditions. Yeah.
Now these are all 30 mil tubes. So next we got the 1:10, which moves up to the 34 mil tube, which I think a lot of people associate with. I guess obviously it's larger in dimension, right? But you're getting a little bit more light transmission through a little bit wider glass.
Yep. As you get into these different erector assemblies, as a 10x erector, you have more glass, and I know it's funny.
It's funny. Pretty good. I tried. I really tried. But there's a lot more going on in this optic and 34 mils in general.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more in there. It's a 10x erector in there, so it's got a lot more glass. So 34.
All right, so moving on to the 1:10, I think definitely historically the most popular of our LPVOs overall. We're also stepping up to 34 mil, which definitely, I think, increased light transmission, but just more going on in general. So you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, with 10x, you have more glass in there, so there's going to be more barriers. So you need a 34 millimeter tube to bring the light in.
Yeah,
it's incredibly great glass. So adding that 34, you get really good light transmission. This has every bell and whistle that you can imagine. It's got a locking low profile turret, so you can really do some dialing. It's got a capped windage, so you could do your dialing, but then you cap it and you kind of set it and forget it.
Yep.
Just a great overall LPVO, but you have that 10X, so you can really reach out, and you still have the clear 1X to do anything close.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the illuminated reticle. I know with the fiber optic versus etched, it's not quite as bright. However, got the new one that's going to be even brighter. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so we have a couple models in the glass etched, so it's the same thing. It kind of casts that light, but we have a diffraction grading model.
Yeah.
That basically is a lensed LED. It just brings that light in. More concentrated to the center of the reticle.
Yeah.
So instead of illuminating the whole reticle, it now illuminates just the small inner circle and the dot, and gives you a daylight bright solution.
Yeah, which again on 1X is going to be super fast.
Yeah.
Which is
no question.
Very cool. And now moving to the new kit on the block, we got the 3-9, which I think stands to maybe supplant the 1-10 as the most popular and versatile optic.
It's not an LPVO, but it is an LPVO because you have the option to put an E-flex or a pistol type optic on there. So you have your 1X solution. You can position this at 45-degree angles if you want.
Yep.
But 3-9 is still the most popular magnification purchased across the world. So we feel this is a perfect magnification. Also adding the 1X, now you have short, medium, long range. It's only 6.8 inches long, so you can still use clip-on devices without throwing a ton of weight at the front of your gun.
Yep.
It's just extremely versatile.
Yeah, great footprint. A lot of guys get sort of wrapped around the axle while mounting scopes in rings or in different mounts. Don't have that issue here.
Don't have that.
I mean, super versatile.
There are aftermarket mounts that can bring you lower, some of that cantilever, so you can really apply it to any platform. It's great on lever guns, muzzleloaders. It's perfect for the AR because this mount alone puts you at 1.53 above bore. It's just perfect.
Yeah, this thing is super cool and it's flying off the shelf. So, that is awesome. And that takes us to sort of the big boys on this end of the table, which I think we're seeing more and more on stuff like 30 cal and above, gas guns, bolt guns.
6.5 Creedmoors.
Yeah, 6.5s, 308s, and even with the 5.25, some really big stuff.
That's right.
So starting out, one of my favorites, this thing is, it sort of, for me, strikes that perfect balance between low enough magnification, but it'll really, really reach out there with some great light transmission to see stuff, shockingly far away.
I think when you're dealing with those bigger calibers, that 3 to 15, 3 to 18 range is what people are really comfortable with. It's not crazy magnification where you're dialed so much that you don't see anything, and it gets you enough low that if you have anything closer in, you can get to. So it's really a good magnification for anything with a larger caliber. This particular one is our second focal plane.
Yep.
So it is geared a little bit more towards the hunter, capped windage and elevation, so you can just set it and forget it. It does have a parallax adjustment, so when you are shooting at longer range, you could set that reticle to that distance. 34 millimeter tube, 50 millimeter objective. So all of the things you'd be looking for a long range scope.
Yeah. And we got it in first focal as well.
First focal it's the same, essentially the same scope, still has parallax adjustment, just more tactical turrets that are exposed. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go, again, keeping that same idea of low enough magnification where if you want to shoot more up close or have just a wider field of view for kind of observation, but all the benefits of second focal plane and it's still a pretty decent high-end range. We got the VUDU X to a 2 to 12. Yeah,
2 to 12 we came out with really for that that customer that wanted a good optic that just can't afford $1,000 or $2,000 for an optic. So this has a lot of the features that our standard VUDU has. It's called the VUDU X. But if you notice, the turrets are a little smaller, more compact. We just kind of sacrificed a little bit more to get you into that price point, but when you look through the glass, it's still incredible. It has parallax adjustment. It is illuminated. Still has a throw lever for easy purchase to make your transitions. It's a great overall scope, and 2 to 12 is going to really cover everything that you're going to want, except for maybe some really unique big game type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That thing is, and when you pick this up, it's surprisingly lightweight too.
Yeah,
which is really cool, especially for those hunting guns you maybe walk around with all day.
One unique thing, it's a little thing, but the VUDU X, both the 1 to 6 and the 2 to 12, we include the covers that come. So if you're storing it, it helps with that, but also in inclement weather out there, it allows to to protect the lens from any snow or rain too.
Yeah, which inevitably, if you're going to go out, it's
Always
going to snow or rain on
That's
you.
right.
Yeah,
It's always the case.
And then sort of our flagship over here, the 5-25, an absolute beast, and without the kill flash on this thing is shockingly short.
So yeah, it defied physics from when we came out with this thing. So it's just a little over 11.5 inches. It's 5-25 power, so you get extremely long shots with this because of the 25 power. One piece eyepiece, it makes it easy to manipulate the magnification.
Yep.
Tall tactical turrets with a zero stop and locking system. We also cap the windage because it's just what you do.
Yeah.
Parallax adjustment. It just has everything in there. And again, if you're looking for 6.5 Creedmoor or even higher, you know, this is going to get you onto those targets and have you hitting steel.
Yeah, and one thing, and most of our optics, or all of them have this, is the one-piece eyepiece, man, especially on bigger optics, bigger guns, you tend to be shooting in the prone more. You're sort of through your glass, and it's just kind of hard to look up and be like, am I touching the right spot? Being able to just grab this whole thing and dial, man, is so nice.
It just saves seconds, which is pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, moving on to a really pretty unique piece of glass. What is this one all about? This is the 8-32, but this thing is wild.
8-32. It's designed more for your competition, for your bench rest. 34 millimeter tube. Again, great light transmission. Really tall turrets. 1/8 click MOA, so you can really kind of do your fine tuning. Parallax adjustment. It is the only optic, because you really don't need it for that type of shooting situations. Is the only one that's not illuminated.
But again, with bench rest, it's not really the thing.
No, you're locking yourself down, and
you
don't really need the illumination. So, yeah, great little optic. Could be good for hunting. You know, it's gonna get you fine tuned for those long range competitions.
Yeah, and with those the refinement of those adjustments, you just
you could really dial in.
That is super cool. And as always, all of this comes with what has, I think, become a fairly legendary warranty and customer service in the industry.
Yeah, we call it the no BS warranty. You know, if we back everything up by workmanship and craftsmanship, and we'll repair, replace, but we just don't see any issues. These are high quality products, and they just do everything you need them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, guys, looking at this, you've been seeing you know, the different reticles and different B-roll of the optics, but it's something you almost got to see and touch to really get a good feel for how awesome these are, and the light transmission and how light some of these optics are. So I encourage you, go find some, buy them, be awesome, and ultimately invest in yourself, because you are worth it. You know, these are all across different price ranges. Like JB said, we try to hit, you know, very achievable price points while still having just no sacrifice in quality and performance. So appreciate you guys watching. You got any comments, questions, or you want to comment on how much taller he is than me, please do that down below in the comments. We appreciate the engagement as always. Thank you so much for watching. Turn it free. See you next time.
You're just farther away.
That is forced perspective. Yeah, that's what it is.